Welcome everyone to episode 5 of Something in the Wild. I'm your host Tyler Smith, and I will be breaking down the comforts and struggles of the modern day hunter and outdoorsman. So today we will be discussing the start of spring. We finally made it. The sun doesn't set until 6 p.m. and I could not be happier about it. Today in Pennsylvania, absolutely beautiful. It's nice, clear, 70-degree, bright blue sky kind of day. And with that extra time, it gives you that added freedom to be able to go outside after work. I couldn't tell you how annoying and frustrating it is. Whenever you get out of work and it's almost dark, you got like 30 minutes left of daylight. It is absolutely brutal. So I'm just super excited. It's a really exciting time too. And the sun won't be setting again before 6 p.m. until November. So you got quite a few months between now and then to go outside, make sure you're enjoying the sun, enjoying the daylight before that next year's seasonal depression hits. And truth be told, you only really do have a limited amount of spring, summers, early falls to enjoy. So go out there, enjoy it, spend time outside. It's really, really awesome. And one thing that I really, really enjoy about this time of year is all the changes that are going on. The changes in foliage, the changes in wildlife, the birds are chirping, frogs croaking, turkeys started gobbling. I went out this weekend and I actually heard a turkey gobble. And that's, it's pretty early for that to be happening right now, but I'm so glad it is. You can see the green start peeking up from the ground, from the leaves. Just all that regrowth is coming back. Going to start seeing deer a little bit more active, I think. They're going to be trying to get out, start fattening up, feeding on leaves, new greenery, stuff like that. Not to mention the pressure. Hunting pressure isn't as bad, and it's non-existent now. All you got is people stomping around doing some shed hunting, but it is still a very, very magic time. And also, I know a lot of people really enjoy going out looking for springtime foods. So stuff that you can forage, like morel mushrooms, for example. There's some various roots that you can collect and eat, and they taste very, very good. Hoping that I can go out and find a few mushrooms this year. That'd be awesome. I have been spending a lot of time out shed hunting, like I said, and been going out with the dogs, Sammy, a couple of my buddies, and it's fun, man. It's a good time to be out there. But always got to make sure that you are staying prepared, and that's going to bring me into my first talking point today. It's talking about preparation for spending time outside in the spring. Now, a lot of not everyone's going to be going out backpacking, spending multiple days out in the woods. That's just not the viewership right now, which you guys are going to be doing. But I do think that it is important to be prepared. And if you are going to spend, say, a day trip outside, want to make sure that you're packing the right clothing. So obviously, depending on the weather, what the circumstances are, conditions, if it's raining, if it's sunny, because you can get uncomfortable very, very quickly if you're not in the right attire. Say, for example, you woke up this morning, didn't know that it was going to be closer to 70 degrees in the afternoon, and we're wearing a hoodie and sweatpants, pants, maybe leggings. That's what I was doing this morning. I took my dog out for a walk real early, and it was cold. It was cold. I mean, I had a hoodie and sweatpants on, and I was still a little bit chilly. And then in the afternoon, I mean, I was sweating, with nothing on, really. I mean, just a t-shirt and going out and playing with the dogs after work. So make sure that you're prepared for those temperature swings. Make sure that you're packing the right clothing, the right stuff that you can layer on and off. It's simple things, but you want to make sure you're enjoying yourself out there. I mean, that's the whole point of getting outside, is so that you enjoy your time outside. Just make sure you're taking it into consideration. And obviously, if you're doing a big backcountry hunt, you obviously know that you got to be very prepared for that kind of stuff. So make sure that you are preparing, put the right gear in place, and have a smart plan going into it. Another thing that I like doing this time of year is checking various game commission websites, check your local wildlife offices, see if they have any cool information about stuff that's going on. You'd be really surprised to see what these organizations are offering online. PA, like just for example, because I'm from Pennsylvania, PA offers a ton of valuable information like biological related stuff, outdoor activities, just really, really cool stuff if you're interested in nature and if you're interested in spending time outside. Right now here, I'm looking at their website and they have a blog. It is called, what is it called? It's called Our Neck of the Woods, a Pennsylvania Game Commission blog. Sorry, my throat's a little dry. So here it says 6 best things to do on Pennsylvania state game lands, and I can put the link for this in the description of this video or podcast, so you guys can follow it out or check it out. So basically, I'm not going to get into too much detail. You guys can look for yourself, but talking about their game land stats, they got 309 game lands, 1.5 million acres, all with trails and stuff on them. Like, for example, state game lands 13. They got how many waterfalls? 20 waterfalls. And because it's the game lands, it's a little bit harder to get to. The foot traffic significantly less. So, just take a look at that kind of stuff. I mean, I want to go see some waterfalls. You can do some wildlife viewing, Pymatuming wildlife area. Got pictures of some bald eagles. I'm sure you'd be able to find tons there. Blue marsh flower fields. They got a bunch of sunflowers. That's for the dove season. Let them die off and then all the seeds fall down. It's really good for bird hunting. 1,000 steps, all that stuff. So go check it out. And yeah, like I said, I'll put the link in the description here. And you guys can just check that stuff out and see if it's anything that you'd be interested in, because I'm sure that I'll be doing some sort of stuff related to that. But, speaking of information from wildlife agencies, that's what I was talking about right there. Pennsylvania sharing information. Colorado and Montana's draws just opened for most big game species. So this really means the start of my serious online scouting. It's going to start picking up very sharply because these 2 states offer some of the best opportunity to pick up Western tags. So if you're planning on getting out west this year, seriously consider looking at these states. I mean, Montana has very, very liberal draw odds. Colorado, relatively speaking, I mean, it's still tough to draw tags, but you can find tags that you'd be able to draw multiple years, consecutively. And those are two of the very few states where you can confidently rely on that. So while we're looking at like hunting opportunities in the states, I also wanted to mention a new ballot initiative in Colorado. Now, I know a lot of you might not have heard of this before or really understand it, but basically this ballot is going to try and ban the hunting of mountain lion and bobcat in the state of Colorado. So there is a ton of controversy around probably that statement, hunting mountain lions and bobcats. I know a lot of people might not understand, and it's going to be hard for me to dive into every detail, but essentially there's a bill being produced that will make trophy hunting a legally defined term in Congress. And this opens a huge can of worms for hunting folks. And the reason for that is because you can't really define trophy hunting to a legal word. It's very, very, the definition is so loose and fluid, and there's a lot of people that have differing definitions. Like, for example, even within the hunting community, people have very different definitions. Some might consider trophy hunting the hunting of, like, just for like the antlers or whatever, but that is completely illegal. There's wanton waste laws in place that prevent anything like that from ever happening, where you have to pack every single ounce of usable meat out with you. You can't leave any of that stuff behind. So that's completely illegal. And then there might be another side of the spectrum where people consider trophy hunting for the meat. They consider the meat the trophy. So there's just a lot of misconception there. Very slippery slope. For it to be considered, illegal to do some of these activities. And might sound like I'm sporting a tinfoil hat here, but it's true, like, very serious stuff, and could have a very negative impact on hunting culture as a whole. People try and live such a sustainable life, hunters do, but just want to bring awareness around that, because there's, without education on both sides of the argument, those that are unfamiliar with hunting will have no real information around the consequences of making this a thing congressionally. And I can't blame people. It's just the nature of the world that we live in, and also with predator management. A lot of people don't understand that, and don't understand that to have a good, healthy deer, elk, turkey, whatever, you need to have also a healthy predator population. And that includes mountain lions, that includes mountain lions, includes bobcats. It's, very touchy subject. So, I just want there to be education around it, awareness. And we all just need to recognize and be cognizant of change, and remember, just because that we can change something doesn't always mean that we should. I know there's good and bad to every argument. So let's just all stand up for what we believe in, protect wild animals, protect wild places, reasonably and responsibly manage animals and the land that they use and everyone uses and enjoys. It's truly special what we have here in America. I've been reading this book. It's called Wilderness in the American Mind. And it talks about America's very unique relationship with wilderness. For all of humanity, basically, people have been trying to get away from wilderness, get rid of wilderness. But because there was so much of it, and America was so vast and so new, we realized that was our most valuable resource, was having wilderness, because there's not a lot of places on earth that have true designated legally protected wilderness. And they talk about this on the Bear Grease podcast with Clay Newcomb. And it's really fascinating to learn where that cultural identity of wilderness comes from, and understanding, why that correlates so much to the American experience of, knowing that there's wild lands, wild areas that people aren't there. And just even the thought of them being there is something very much worth the time and effort to protect those places. That it's just, it cannot be stated more, cannot be more widely shared, because once those wild places leave, once they are paved over and stuff, you're not getting it back, not in any reasonable time, at least. So just make sure you're cognizant of that and enjoy those wild places. Even if you don't get out there, just enjoy the thought that they exist. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and make sure to keep it wild.